In this week's EV news, Sainsbury's becomes the first UK supermarket to launch their own rapid charging network. Toyota say there's no immediate plans in their lineup for an electric iGo replacement or similar. Chinese giant BYD's electric car sales overtake Tesla in the last quarter of 2023 for the first time. And Oxfordshire County Council launch an all-electric bus fleet. Welcome back to another EV news. I want to start this week's episode by thanking each and every one of you that are subscribed to this channel. We surpassed 10,000 subscribers recently and it is absolutely huge, and all thanks to you. 85% of people that watch videos on this channel are not subscribed. You might be surprised to hear, so think just how many subscribers I could have if every one of you that's watching now clicked the subscribe button. If you're one of that 85%, click subscribe now, turn notifications on. It not only helps me grow the channel, but it means you won't miss out on the next video. Remember, if you see an EV related news article that you think would be a good feature in one of these videos, submit the details at dothisnext.co.uk. I'll take a look and I'll see if I can include it. But anyway, let's get on with this week's EV news. First up, Sainsbury's become the first UK supermarket to launch their own rapid charging network. And you might say, hang on a minute, lots of supermarkets have rapid charging. Tesco have been doing it for years. So what are you talking about? Well, what I mean by that is Sainsbury's, they're not partnering with another network. So they're not bringing in PodPoint or BP Pulse or Instavolt or anyone like that. They're going it alone. They have launched Smart Charge, and that's the name they've given to their own public charging network that they are launching, and they are deploying ultra-rapid chargers at a number of their stores. Now, this has been going on for a little while now. People have been noticing that some rapid chargers are springing up in Sainsbury's car parks. They're typically 150 kilowatt Chem Power rapid charging units. They look an awful lot like the Osprey ones that we see here and there because obviously they're orange being the Sainsbury's branding. And it was just sort of, it come out of nowhere. There was no real information about how to use them or anything like that. They support contactless payment, but it just sort of come out of nowhere, and everybody was sort of speculating as to who was involved and what was going on. But Sainsbury's have finally set the record straight. So this is their own charging network that they're launching. They want to become a major player in charging, and they want to do that in their own right, rather than partnering with an existing charging network. CCS connectors are available at all of their sites, as you would expect, and they said that CHAdeMO is available at most of them. So they haven't made a solid commitment to CHAdeMO being everywhere, but they're saying it is available at most of them. And what I've actually seen from them, I saw a picture of one site where they actually had a sign pointing out which one was the CHAdeMO unit. Now, why they couldn't put CHAdeMO on more of their units, it remains a mystery. I mean, there are still an awful lot of Leafs out there that need charging, but it seems to be a common thing that operators are doing, and at least they are supporting CHAdeMO in some capacity, I suppose. The bad news is it is 75 pence per kilowatt hour. Now, not the most expensive by any means, but also not the cheapest. And it shows further sign that this ever-increasing cost of public rapid charging isn't showing any sign of slowing down. There's also a £60 pre-auth when you scan your contactless card. I've talked about this in detail in the past, and I might actually need to revisit pre-auth because it's a bit of a sore subject for a lot of people. People get quite het up about it, and it'd be good to review what the various charging networks are all doing about it. But £60 with Sainsbury's. Now, if you use one of their pay-at-pump petrol stations, you'll probably find the pre-auth is like £100 at least. At Tesco, it's £120. So I guess it's in line with that, but obviously it's not ideal if the chargers fail to start, that kind of thing. Fortunately, the Chem Power units do seem to be really reliable, so hopefully issues like that will be few and far between. All in all, I think this is great news, because if you think about the bigger picture here, Tesco are obviously already doing their thing with PodPoint, quite heavy on destination chargers, unlike Sainsbury's, who have gone all in with ultra rapid everywhere, no destination chargers at all, just rapid everywhere they go. I don't know, I think there's a balance to be struck there in terms of what you might need at a supermarket location, but they must think this is the right thing for them. And then Asda, obviously their agreement with BP Pulse has come to an end. And it's looking very likely that their owners, EG Group, are going to start properly rolling out lots of Rapids. They announced they're going to be buying supercharger hardware from Tesla, so it's highly likely we're going to see V4 superchargers, albeit part of the Eurogarage's EV Point network, rolled out by then. And it's fairly inevitable those are going to end up at Asda stores. So if you end up with rapid charging hubs at Asda and Sainsbury's, and then the little bit that Tesco have of rapids, but mostly AC, the charging landscape is changing massively. If supermarkets are going to become rapid charging hubs, just think about how many big Sainsbury's stores there are close to motorways or A roads. Well, so the pressure there is on sort of the motorway services and all that stuff starts to ebb away, because people will start leaving the motorway and charging at these locations that are near the motorway. So I think that's a really good thing, and the supermarkets getting behind this has to be a good thing. They've got the land already. They've probably got decent grid connections. I know that Tesco are quite big in like solar power. They're putting a lot of panels on their stores and all that kind of stuff. Sainsbury's say that these chargers are powered by 100% renewable energy. Now, the full details of that, I don't know. I guess they might have some generation, but they're probably also buying, renewable energy, etc. It's set up to actually mean that the charging operators, your grid serves, your Instavolts, etc. of the world, are going to have some serious competition on their hands. And that must start to reflect in the prices that people get charged. It's got to. Supermarkets did it with petrol, right? They had massive price wars on petrol with the big sort of petrol retailers. They'll do the same with rapid charging. Definitely. But all good news from Sainsbury's, and I'll need to see if I can go to one of their sites and check it out and see what all the hype is about. Next up, there are lots and lots of manufacturers out there announcing they're going to build cheaper, smaller EVs. You got the Renault 5 coming. You got the Citroen EC3, which we did a video about previously. You got the rumoured Volkswagen ID2, which is going to be coming in the next couple of years. All gunning for a sub £25,000 price point. So you can guess then who isn't going to be doing that anytime soon. That's right, everybody's friend Toyota. Hardly surprising, really, is it? Let's be honest. But it's disappointing. They really seem hell-bent on not becoming a serious player when it comes to the EV market. Toyota's product development boss Andrea Carlucci said that there is still a premium attached to electric cars, and that there needs to be a substantial shift in the cost of batteries to make a value electric super mini profitable at scale. Toyota's cheapest EV for the foreseeable future then is going to be the production version of its new urban crossover concept, which is expected to cost around £32,000, so way over that £25,000 sort of benchmark. And it just sounds to me like Toyota is hell-bent on having its cake and eating it here. It wants to continue to make as much profit as physically possible from internal combustion until the very last moment when they're going to be forced to produce cheaper EVs that people actually want to buy. And I mean, if you look at the ZEV mandate, right, that is going to really hit them hard, because unless the number of EVs they sell massively increases, they're going to be hit by these fines. And are they planning on making enough from internal combustion going forward that the fines won't matter? And so, they're going to have another 10 years of making loads of money and so having to pay a bit of fines for not meeting the EV targets. But it seems like the complete opposite to what every other manufacturer is doing, and I just don't get it. News of manufacturers not scared of selling EVs now, as Chinese giant BYD announced their sales figures for 2023. We're talking about BYD's global sales here, in case you're a little bit confused. I know they're only just getting started here in the UK, and so you're probably thinking, well, they haven't sold that many cars. But then, of course, they are a huge global force to be reckoned with here. And they've actually overtaken Tesla in the last quarter of 2023, selling 526,000 battery-only electric vehicles in that quarter, overtaking Tesla, who sold 484,500. BYD still have some catching up to do if they want to actually surpass Tesla, mind. Over the whole year, Tesla sold 1.8 million EVs worldwide, BYD 1.6 million. But then let's not forget BYD also sell loads of hybrids and internal combustion cars as well. So in terms of they're an automotive giant. They're huge, and I really do think that they are the company that everybody's going to be trying to compete with. I would say beat, but compete with, I think, is more accurate. I haven't had the chance to check out any of their UK offerings yet. Obviously, we've got the Atto 3 launched last year, and the Dolphin. I don't know if people are actually getting them delivered yet, but it's very imminent. If not, I'd be really, really interested to see what those are like, and hopefully I'll get the chance to drive one in the near future. But I do think other manufacturers, and especially ones that seemingly stuck in the dark ages like Toyota, really need to get their act together, because Chinese firms like BYD are going to absolutely destroy them otherwise. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is it going to be rare that we're going to even be able to talk about anybody getting near them in terms of sales figures going forward, as they absolutely ramp up and just obliterate the competition? I mean, I can see it happening. I hope that doesn't happen. I'd like to see us have a varied car market from all these different manufacturers, but they really do have the might to blow everybody else away, especially manufacturers like Toyota, who are trading on the past and always sticking their fingers in their ears and hoping that they can't hear what's going on. It's crazy. Used bargain of the week time now, where I find a bargain EV from Autotrader for your viewing pleasure. How does a 20 grand Cupra Born grab you? Now, I know we've talked about the Volkswagen ID3 before, and I've featured one of them before because obviously they've been around for just a little bit longer than the Born, but this is basically the cooler, if you like, cousin of the Volkswagen ID3. It's basically the same car, looks a little bit cooler, has a Cupra badge on it. Now, I'm not a huge Seat/Cupra fan. Honestly, I don't overly get it. I'm not quite sure what the brand is about and who it's actually for, but some people do absolutely love these. I know a few people that have a Cupra Born as a company car or whatever, and they absolutely love it. They think it's brilliant, it's great fun. So I get it, and I understand why you might want one over an ID3. Now, this particular one at 20 grand is the smaller 58 kilowatt hour battery. I mean, I love the idea of that being small. It very much isn't, right? But it's going to be more than enough for an awful lot of people's needs. It's in the entry-level V1 trim, but it still looks fairly well appointed. And it's been quite busy. 35,000 miles on the clock on a 22 reg kind of flies in the face for all those people that say, oh, EVs don't go anywhere and you wouldn't buy one if you were doing long journeys. Well, this one's certainly been busy. And it seems like good value for money, especially if you look at the £36,475 list price that this thing would have, or in theory, cost when it was new. Now, obviously, you don't know what someone paid for it. Chances are it was on a short-term lease or something like that. What did the lease company pay for it? Did they pay the list price for it? Who knows? We're entering a really interesting phase here where you've got serious competition seemingly at every price point. I've seen 20 grand MG4s recently. I've seen, we've talked about 20 grand ID3s. There's plenty of the Stellantis stuff around for this kind of budget. So you're absolutely spoiled for choice, and therefore you can be picky. If you don't particularly like the Born, you'll look at something else. But let me know what you think in the comments. Would a 20 grand Cupra Born, is that going to catch your eye? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And finally, Oxfordshire County Council launch what will be one of the biggest UK fleets of electric buses outside of London. I don't talk about the electrification of public transport or of other forms of transport very often on this channel. We're very, very car focused. But it's definitely good to explore this kind of stuff, and I think this is a good story to feature. The £82.5 million project will deliver 159 new battery electric buses to the roads of Oxford, the first of which are actually already in service. It has also funded 2 associated charging hubs at the city's bus depots. Now, this sounds really good to me, because how often do you hear people saying, well, it's all right bringing in all these electric buses, vans, trucks, etc., but where are they going to charge them? Where's the infrastructure? Well, it sounds like Oxfordshire County Council have planned this in, and we have charging hubs for the buses at the depots. Exactly what you would want. The bus fleet has been funded through a collaboration between the County Council, Oxford Bus Company and Stagecoach. The council was awarded £32.8 million from the government's Zero Emissions Bus Regional Areas scheme, and it contributed £6 million of its own funds directly. And the remaining £45 million came from the bus operators themselves. Now, I think this is a really good initiative, right? Removing diesel buses from city centre streets must have a huge impact on local air quality. Stop-start driving type use cases are absolutely brilliant ones for electrification, as we know, and I do think that this will be a great success. And it's great to see progress in this area outside of London. Also, we know there's loads of electric buses in London. Oxfordshire County was one of only 12 local authorities that have actually successfully applied for this central government funding that they've tapped into here. So it seems to me like they're well ahead of the curve, and I mean, some other councils just don't seem to be taking this seriously at all. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should this type of electrification of public transport be a high priority? Or do you think the time and the money and the effort could be better spent elsewhere? I'm sure, as always, you'll have an opinion and probably quite a strong one. But that's it for this week's EV News. I think you'll agree it's been a far more positive set of stories than last week's one was. As always, let me know in the comments what you think about any or all of these stories, because your points of view are always very welcome. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.